The Disruptor and DT are the two dumbest units in the game. I outplayed the Protoss the entire game, but of course he just stalls and stalls with Disruptors, and there's literally nothing you can do. Then of course DTs come out and it's game over. I guess I should have 2-base tank all in pool the boys, because that's the only way to avoid late game TVP. I will be doing that every game from now on. Shout out Big Gabe. No wonder Marine Lord quit for Age of Empires. Like, it's literally impossible to attack into Disruptors. Oh my god, I'm so tilted. I'm getting a beer. Name Crusher 97. Race Terran. League Master at 1400 MMR, so that is probably Masters 1, very close to Grandmaster, and the server is going to be on Europe. And the question here, I guess, is, are Disruptors and Dark Templar imbalanced, or do I suck? Alright, and here we are in a game between Crusher and Kelsier, a French Protoss player, or maybe it's Kelsier, and one of the two. I bet it's a Frenchie. Opening up with a robotics facility here is our Protoss, which is usually a mistake at this level. We saw a 2-gas opener coming out of our Terran. I don't actually like Robo that much in this type of scenario. The Dual Reaper are also not really being responded to. There's no battery in either base, which kind of sucks, honestly. Like, you really do want that. Because otherwise this type of stuff is going to happen. You're losing mining time, you're losing workers. If you lose 2-3 workers, the game is equal, even if you don't lose mining time. If you lose this much mining time, you lose 2-3 workers. That is freaking awful. At the same time, Hellion also in a natural. Very nice little tactic here, I would say. This is the type of stuff that you can literally just copy out of any top player, and it's going to work guaranteed on your level. Like, this type of aggression, and with the pattern as well, right? 2 Reapers in the main, Hellion in natural. 9 out of 10 times you're going to get some damage done. This game is practically over at this point, getting 6 worker kills. So I would recommend, in this case, for our Terran player, to get a Cyclone? No, not a Cyclone. Ooh, that's a big mistake, actually. That's a really dumb mistake as well, because he scouted everything. Right, he scouted a robotics facility. The Cyclone is good against Oracles and against Phoenix. Now, the smart people at home might have realized that the Phoenix and the Oracle have something at home. I'll let all the Terrans that are currently watching this think about it for a little bit more. Let's just wait 5 more seconds. What do the Phoenix and the Oracle have in common, Terran players? Just think. Right. They both come out of the Stargate. So if you do not see a Stargate, what do you not need to build? The Cyclone, because it is not good against anything else that isn't a Stargate unit. Perfect. I'm glad we figured that one out. The moment, as a Terran player, you scout a robotics facility and you know there's no Stargate in the main base either, there is no point to finish this Cyclone. It is almost never useful. The only other very niche scenario might be against like a 3-gate Prism attack, or in the case of a DT drop, it might be useful, but it still would not be my preferred unit of choice. Getting a fast Raven would be good enough, especially against the DT drop. And a tank is better against 3-gate Prism as well. So yeah, much rather would have seen a tank. On top of that, I would have loved to see a 3-Rex build here over a triple command center. You have a fantastic early game, killing 7 workers, basically ending the game. If you follow that up with something quick, you can kind of leverage that lead that you have. Now instead, you get a 3rd command center, then you float 700 minerals, and then you add 2 barracks. Now the floating the 700 minerals, I can assure you, is not a part of this build order. That is due to incompetence. I'm not sure what was happening at the same time. I'm almost tempted to go back into time, but I also don't really care enough. It's just bad macro, and at 4.9k MMR, there's really no reason why you wouldn't know the timing of your 2nd and 3rd barracks. But let me get back to the main point. If you are ahead in the early game, the best thing to do is to keep the aggression on, because then you can kind of capitalize on your early game lead. The longer the game lasts, the less impactful that early game damage is going to be. So a 3rd CC generally is going to be considered a mistake in that case, because it allows the Protoss to get back into the game by being a little bit greedy himself. Maybe he'll get a couple of Colossi out before you can get your first push set up. If you forget your 2nd and 3rd Rex altogether, I guess you give your opponent till like the 8-minute mark. Because these 2 medevacs are out at a normal timing. This is like 2 medevacs for a 3-Rex timing. And right now we have 10 Marines. 10 Marines and a tank. No stim, no combat, no +1. Like, this is obvious to me that this build order is completely improvised. He dealt some damage. I was like, ooh, I dealt damage. Not quite sure what to do now, but I did remember the first 4.5 minutes of a Hero Marine stream that I watched the other day. It's like, that's not exactly how it works, all right? Not at this level. Like, we're talking practically low Grandmaster right now. We need to have build orders that somewhat make sense at this point, or we need to have fantastic mechanics where the build order kind of flows out of you, you know? If you have very good mechanics, if you have money, you'll build the barracks immediately. Obviously, the mechanics aren't there, so then you need to have the knowledge. You need to have the pure timings in your head, where it's like, okay, at 450, I build barracks, or 440, I build barracks. Only very highly mechanical players can just kind of improvise like this. And as you're not a very strong mechanical player, once again being shown here, is nothing's really happening, and you're floating a solid 500 minerals for a bit. I'd recommend just knowing the timings kind of by heart. Just figuring them out, you know? Just knowing like timings or supply is always going to be a very good like kind of a guideline of when to build stuff. Your initial push is going to hit late, but it's still going to hit quite hard, I believe. You have a Raven with this. Your opponent only has a single Colossus. You have a bunch of Marauders already, which I absolutely love here, by the way. I really like that lately a lot of high-level Terrans, and apparently also our barcode player, what is he called? Crusher. Also is building a lot of Marauders. Really good against these Colossi Stalker styles, because Marauders just trade so well against them. I'd love to see a little move out. I would also love for you to spend your money. Protoss player right now is pooping his pants, by the way. Like, I'm feeling bad for this. Look at it. The TOS has a vision of one refinery mining and nothing else. There's literally zero vision on the map currently. Like, he's getting ready to be dropped in the main. He's getting ready to get blasted over at his third base. Right now, he's just visualizing all the different ways to die. And none of them are pretty. They're like awful ways to die. You know, the Raven flies in, interferences both of them. Entire army drops into your main base, and there's a double drop in your third base. The rest of the army goes towards the main. There's like 70 different scenarios that basically would kill our Protoss player at this moment. One of the scenarios I don't think he's currently visualizing is the scenario in which you did nothing for about 40 seconds, waiting for 6 medevacs until going in, and now you drop. I still like the drop. I just think this could have been executed way faster and way earlier. No. This was not the timing for the interference. The Colossi by themselves never could have walked up this ramp, so you basically just waited 2 interference. That was snipeable as well. So far, the micro gets a 0 out of 10 for me. And here, the disruptor shot hits. This was an okay time to either run back or to pick up. The fight overall... Well, is it actually good? No, it wasn't a good fight, but it might have been somewhat even. Let's take a look. Resources, yeah, it was somewhat even, resources lost. This should have been a completely one-sided stomp. Colossi never could have flanked a tank and 10 Marauders. It's impossible. That one Disruptor could have just been right-clicked at any point, and your Raven could have still had like the 200 energy that it had before. Could have built 4 auto turrets, or just waited until the Colossi get upstairs, and then interference matrix. So a lot of mistakes in that initial fight. On top of that, you were also floating like 1200 minerals. The Protoss player also was floating 1800 minerals. I'd like to add that. People always say, well, Harstem, it's also about how bad the other player is. That also proves imbalance, and I'm paying attention to that. I just want to, you know, just plant the flag there for everyone to see. I just want to say, hey, yes, the Protoss also did not macro perfectly. The Protoss has very poor map vision. He's trying his best to get some map vision, but he's simply not allowed map vision currently because, well, Terran's been on the map this entire time, and he's probably going to continue being on the map for the entire time as well. A couple of Vikings. 3-3 upgrades, or 3-2 upgrades probably should start ASAP. This is a fight you could definitely take. Like 100% you can take this. You can... No, you can snipe them. You know, you don't have to run away from them, right? You are allowed to kill Disruptors as well. Maybe he thinks Disruptors are holy or something like that. It is possible. He doesn't realize he can right-click Disruptors. Maybe he doesn't know how much HP they have. He's like, I never killed one for like 1 million HP. I also wouldn't mind Ghosts at this point. Probably a little bit early already. I think with this push. Ooh, Liberators before Ghost. That's a big no-no for me. That is a very big no-no for me. Ooh. The Ghost for Terran is kind of like... Okay, imagine you're going to a pub quiz, okay? And you have 3 friends. John, did university, finished his engineering degree. Then you get Jacob, quit after high school, started working full-time, lays down solar panels on top of people's roof. Pretty clever guy, though. And the final friend that you have is Albert Einstein. If your pub quiz covers physics, it'd be a good thing to take Einstein there, okay? It's the same with Ghost in the Terran army. Yes, Marines and Marauders are pretty smart, and you might want to have them with you, but freaking Einstein you're not gonna leave behind. And Einstein in this case is the Ghost. The Ghost is the ultimate unit that Terran has. This is a good fight, by the way, for Terran. If this army would also be in the main or at a different location, that would be sick. Basically what I'm trying to say is always take Einstein to a pub quiz. If you have a friend that is called Einstein. And he's also as smart as the original Einstein, of course. This is a good drop, by the way. Very nice drop. This is beautiful stuff. Actually beautiful stuff. Now take out all these disruptors. Also fine. You clear 2, you fly away. Now, during all of this, it is fairly obvious what should have been happening. There should have been an army over here at the fort base. This army, I'm not sure why it was here. I'm not sure why these marauders were down here, just idling on the low ground. They should have been attacking a different location. The entire point of multitasking is that multiple things are happening at the same time. That's kind of, it's in the word already, multi. More than one thing you want to be happening. So if you're trying to multitask by just dropping in your opponent's main base, that's not really multitasking, it's just dropping into your opponent's main base. The Liberator here is, I don't know, this is... I don't really like Liberators before Ghost at all. Like, Ghost literally has a spell that destroys the entire Protoss army. Like, it just cuts the HP in half by taking out all the shields. If there's Archons in there, even more. Like... It is crazy how good EMP is. You always want to use that. So yeah, we finally get it. And the thing with Liberators is, Liberators are good, but they need range, and you need to have a bunch of them. In that sense, they're kind of similar to fries, You can't just eat 1 fry or 2 fries. Like, if you eat fries, you eat like 20, 25 of them at least to be somewhat satisfied. Now, Liberators, the numbers, it's like... Anything under 6 or 7, you're not going to be satisfied with. You need to have 2 kind of rows of 3 Liberators, so you can just kind of slowly but surely leapfrog forward with these Liberators. That's the entire point of the Lib. It's like a unit that zones your opponent away while your bio stands behind it. If they blink in, bam, you just stim in and you clear absolutely everything because Stalkers suck against bio. This is an interesting use of Liberators that I haven't seen quite before. It's more as a distraction unit there. Maybe scaring tactic. I think what's happening here is that the Terran hopes... Ooh, this is a good fight for... Could have been a good fight for the Terran. Would have stimmed, maybe. Hit some of the EMPs, have a drop. What I was gonna say is that I believe that our Terran player wants the Liberator to have a similar effect as the Disruptor, where the Protoss sees the Liberator and goes like, oh, I can't kill that. I don't want to go in there. It's not quite the case because this TOS is relatively genius. Ooh, and as I say that, this TOS is probably going to lose this base here. No more Disruptor shots available. Super battery. It's not going to be enough here. This is good damage output. This is actually nice movement as well. This was a drop in the main base and then the attack over here at the fort. What I said should have happened last time now happens. Immediately wins the game. Look at that. 178 against 115. There's still like 2k, 1.5k in the bank as well. So plenty of money for the eventual battlecruiser transition or whatever Crusher is about to do here. Like, this game is officially over for the second time. Don't forget, the game has already ended on. I think we could have a game over counter maybe somewhere in one of the corners if Hamster can figure out a good way to do that. This is the second time this game has been officially over. If this was a best of 3, Kelsier would be out of the tournament. He lost 0-2. It's over. But apparently it's a best of 5 and Crusher wants to win this game a 3rd time in a row. Because he's not quite capitalizing yet. Maybe just wants to max out. Well, adding another command center, smart. What did Artosis always say? When ahead, get further ahead. Very true. And where did that get Artosis? As the mainstay caster at the GSL. Very true. Very, very true. And constantly raging at Protoss as well on his stream.
This is so up!
So these are two things that are considered positive. What else do we have here? Okay, ghost, we're moving out. I like that. Okay, in reality, what should be happening right now is a massive F2 and just A moving across the map. I think you could probably close your eyes while fighting. Probably, actually. You stim, you EMP. You can't miss EMP. They cover the entire screen. The actual radius of the EMP with the enhanced shockwave is so big that you literally can click on the minimap and you cover entire parts of the minimap. Like you click over here and the entire Protoss army has no shields left. It's completely fine. It's completely fine. No worries there. Ooh, Dark Shrine. Right, there is also DTs in this game, which is surprising because the game has been over already for a solid 14 minutes and now again for another minute and a half already. Really, at any point we can still attack and straight up win the game. We can attack with this army, or we could drop half the army in the main base or send half the army here, like multitasking. We could also go into Liberators. This is pure Marauders at this point. Well, practically pure Marauder. Don't completely mind it. Don't actually completely mind it at all. Kind of like it even. I think that's a cool move. Triple Disruptors being built. This is an army consisting of 7 Disruptors right now. We have more Liberators on the way. I feel like in the past minute, all that has really happened is that our Terran players secured a 6th base, built 3 more command centers, and got this watchtower, but lost 10 supply while the opponent gained 60 supply. I don't think this was a good use of our time. Then again, I am a master procrastinator, so I don't know too much about using your time efficiently. Or holy crap, that was bad. That exact same fight could have happened a minute and a half ago, except then there only would have been 4 Disruptors and no Stalkers with this. I'm not sure why we waited an entire 70 supply to lose our entire army to 3 Disruptor shots. Could have done that way faster. Started producing Liberators already. Holy crap, that was bad. If you know that you don't know how to micro, going into a higher Liberator count probably is the correct call, because you need the micro less. You have range advantage, or you go into like the multitasking stuff. Disruptors are really bad when they're split up. They're great against bigger armies because it's easier to hit something. But just split your army in 2 and just kind of multitask against your opponent. Every single time you've multitasked so far, things have gone relatively well. I like this setup. This setup is actually quite good. You don't need to be... Like, you can be here right now. You don't have to be in range of the Disruptors. You just can be a little bit back. This actually was a good fight. This was it was not brilliant, but it was good enough. Same time, Zealots. Dealing a decent amount of damage here. And this is where we see the real Terran multitasking, you know? Who are they being defended by? What are they sieging? They really hate this Rich Vespine geyser. It is Zealous dealing a lot of damage, actually. Like, a lot of damage is being dealt here. Like, what is this? Like, you need to support your Liberators. They're not a unit that can just stand by themselves. Like, they're part of a bigger thing, you know? StarCraft 2 is a lot about, like, having an army composition with units that have some type of synergy, in a way. Holy crap. This entire thing was actually insane. The supplies literally swapped, and we need to talk a little bit about this. We have a couple of things here. First of all, the Liberators, okay? If you're using the Liberators to zone, you need to have a bio army with it. The Liberator by itself is a kind of a useless unit. The Liberator is a little bit like Steve Jobs. Now, it doesn't wear a turtleneck or cool shoes, but what the Liberator does do is he works very well in a team with other people, you know? If you just have Steve Jobs, you just have a guy talking about weird stuff, like, I want a phone, and you must be able to swipe and do other things. If no one builds the phone, it makes no sense. It's the same with the Liberator. If the Liberator is just sieging up over here, but there's no bio behind it to back up that circle of freedom of the Liberator, then there's no point. You need to have some backup. It's part of a composition. You're just consistently using these Liberators as a solo unit, and it makes no sense whatsoever. It's not a solo unit. That's what the Battlecruiser... If you want to just control one unit at a time, you play Mass Battlecruiser every single game from this point on out. But this has absolutely not been it. On top of that, I just like to note, I find this interesting, and all the word funny, it would enter my mind maybe, is that there are some Terrans, like our current Terran, who have the greatest multitasking in the world when they're in control. But when they're the defender and they're not the one in control anymore, all of a sudden, multitasking is non-existent. There's absolutely no second control group to defend anything. When they're dropping at the start 2 places at the same time, I'm so much faster than his stupid Protoss with an ape brain. No. Terran, this is a little bit when you have like a younger brother. You're like 10 years old. Your younger brother is 5 years old. You wrestle with him, you destroy like arm bars, leg locks, absolutely crushing this kid. Like he stands no chance whatsoever. Because you're 5 years old, you're just stronger, you're the one in control, Now, fast forward, you're 25, you're national champion in Dorito eating and Mountain Dew drinking. Your little brother is hitting the gym 15 times a week. There's like mixed martial art practice 6 times as well. Then all of a sudden that wrestling ain't that fun anymore because you're not in control anymore and you look pretty weak. That's exactly what's happening here. Look at this. None of this is being microed. None of the defense is being done either because all of a sudden the TOS is in control. This TOS looked a little bit bad because he never was in control, but now that he's in control of this game, and it literally ends the moment the control of who was in control of this game swapped. The supplies also completely reversed, and the Terran started looking like a bit of a newbie here. It's really sick how that works, and this is fairly often the case, especially at the somewhat lower levels, where the moment people know what they're doing and they're really in control of the situation, they can work with a lot of momentum. They're usually destroying their opponent, but the moment something weird happens, they get caught off guard. All of a sudden, they aren't that brilliant anymore, and it's completely the case here. And you have 8k minerals in the bank. Surely you could get back into it if you try really hard. And one of the cool things that you could potentially do here, I'm not saying that it would win you the game, but one of the best ways to get rid of pressure on you is by trying to counterattack with something. And this can be very small things. I'm talking just queue up 3 Liberators for all I care. You have 4 Liberators right now, send 1 behind this base, send 1 behind this base, send 1 behind this base. Queue up a double drop to the left side, Just make sure that your opponent feels the need to defend. Because the moment your opponent is defending, maybe you get some time to crank out a couple of units again. Basically what the Protoss had been doing, He basically reversed this game with that single Zealot run by completely ruining your macro, and your Liberator gas siege up, whatever it was. Now, at this point, the Protoss has completely won the game. This game is now 2-1. So if this was a best of 3, once again, our Terran still would have won. In a best of 5, all of a sudden, there's some comeback potential. At least I'm feeling some comeback potential here. And the Terran also is making no moves to try and get back into the game. Is making no moves in general, because it's pretty dead, but no moves to get back in the game. He's basically just continuing the same way he was while he was winning. And let's not forget that when he was up 90 supply, our Terran player didn't manage to finish the game or get to a better position for himself. Basically, continuing the same thing here is insane. It makes no sense. It went poorly already when you were super far ahead. Why would it go well all of a sudden now that you're 70 supply behind? Like, that is a 140 supply difference. Initially up 70 supply, now down 70 supply. Like, the difference there in situation is insane. You obviously need to switch up the pace. So this is a move that I like. And the funny thing is that the... Oh god, here we go. I have a bad feeling about these Liberators already. I don't know why, but the way that they sieged up, it hurt me a little bit. Oh? Oh yeah, I can't defend that actually. Nah. Can't defend this. Pick up, pick up, pick up into the main. Pick up into the main. Okay, I'm gonna do that in slow motion. Look at this. Look at this. The correct move, but the execution here. I don't think this still counts as the same move. He's trying to load up a bunch of grandmas into a bus with the speed this was. Holy crap. This maneuver starts at 24:37. 24:38. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. Huh? Still these two behind. Takes 4 seconds. 4 seconds to load up units, and it still has 2 Marauders stuck on the low ground. That is unbelievable. If something takes 4 seconds in a game of StarCraft 2, it better be done perfectly. It better be done perfectly. This was absolutely not done perfectly. TT's now being dealt with in an okay way. This army obviously should be moving towards the bottom side at the same moment because we want to get back into the game. We want to multitask. But instead of multitasking, we're looking at our main army right now. And we're losing it because there is 35 disruptors and a massive army shooting at it. The space that we have created is not being used whatsoever. Not being used whatsoever. Now maybe we start moving down. I don't even think that's going to be the case. Honestly, this is still very winnable for the Terran. Like, Protoss mining sucked for a long time. There's a lot of money in the bank still. How's this DT still alive? Oh my god. There's like... Surely the priority is not getting another orbital here, but just getting any outside bases. Like, sitting at home right now just allows the opponent to move across the map. This is another little bit of theory, which apparently this Terran hasn't learned yet. Or Crusher, whatever he's called. Disruptors freaking suck at defending, especially against Liberators. But attacking, Disruptors are the greatest unit in the world. You just shoot 2 Disruptor shots, walk or like rotate. Shoot 2 more, rotate. Shoot 2 more, rotate. Consistently getting free damage. If you're defending something, all of a sudden you're forced to shoot 4 or 5 Disruptor shots at a time, while Liberators are zoning your main army away, and that unit isn't as brilliant anymore. He's really utilizing the range here of the Liberator. Didn't even know it was possible to range it up with this little range forward. It's like -1. It's actually insane to watch this. No counter pressure whatsoever this entire time. This was a good move. Lose a little bit, but the control there was quite good. I really did like that. Once again, the possibility to just leave... Look at this. I'm just suggesting moves here, okay? Siege up 5-6 Liberators over here. 3 on this side, 3 on this side, or something like that. And just stim your entire army to the bottom right. All the other units that get created right now, just send towards the left side. Immediately. The moment you get attacked into a planetary, you have the Liberators to defend in this general area. If your opponent tries to go for the throat, you siege all your Liberators on top of your ramp. It's really difficult to break that. 6 Liberators on top of a ramp with +2. Even if you have 27 Stalkers, if there's just as little as like basically 5-6 Marauders on top of the ramp, it's so hard to break this type of stuff. It's so hard to do it. By the time you shot the first 3 Liberators, you already lost like 10-12 Stalkers. And don't forget that there's also an army killing your Nexus at the same time. But you need to make a move. You can't just sit there just tanking shots. And look at this. Army moving exactly where I thought it was going to, because this is the correct call for Protoss. The correct call is to go to the outside base. So you could have defended this with Liberators, with the Planetary as your backup unit, then at the same time, counterattack. Your counterattack starts so extremely late, my friend. So extremely late. It's actually painful to see. Like, the moment you realize something happens, that's when you start going. You should be anticipating moves out of your opponent, like a little bit of game sense, or get a sensor tower, which is practically map hack. It's also fine. Look, kill the base for free, and you kept your base alive at the same time just by dealing some counter pressure, just like that. It's beautiful, isn't it, how that works? Now, this army that you just reinforced to this position makes no sense. Once again, I'm just gonna show it once more. This army that reinforced should not be joining up with this army. The moment you can be backed into a corner, the Protoss can chase you all the way, like just around and then attack while it's chasing your army into a defensive position. So you always need to stay aggressive on the map. If you're not staying aggressive on the map, how are you ever going to do any damage? How are you ever going to spend the money that you have? Like, you need time right now. You need to buy a lot of time. You also have so much energy. Holy crap. You drop a couple of mules, man. You have 16 mules available for you. No more. It's like 20 mules. Holy crap, I like this move. It should have been with some Marauders, though. And a medevac, probably, but... Yeah, you live, you learn. You live, you learn. Where's the lips? All out of position. Disadvantage of not having sensor towers and no game sense. Yeah, the sensor tower honestly is a bit of a replacement for game sense, but... Yeah, there's no point. This game is actually over. This game has been over for a while now. I really did believe that there was like 3-4 extra possibilities to go, but it seems like this game is... Yeah, is actually completely over. We'll just speed this up a little bit because I have no hope for this Terran anymore. And I also have no hope that this Terran is going to leave the game at a responsible time. Because that is not something that Terran players are known for. Whatsoever. Oh. Nice Liberator. She's... Holy crap. I want to see that again. This is a siege and a half. He's not even attacking the tower. It just makes no sense. I don't know, like this type of stuff, I just can't understand it. I just don't understand it. Like this Terran obviously has some concepts, but stops using them the moment he gets ahead. Like the initial multitasking wasn't that bad. At some point, the one drop into the main base and then the attack on the fort was really good. I like that a lot. But after that, I haven't seen a single good decision in this game. Like not a single one, except for that one. All the other decision making was just bad. It was slow. The response time was very slow. Ooh, look at that. Preemptive force fields. I mean, could have just lifted over it, I guess, but might have been too much. I guess he's seen the lift from earlier over there. He's like, no shot, this guy's trying to lift again. That didn't go to hot the first time around. No way. No way. 4.9k. No GG. No GG either. Yeah. No GG. Disruptor and Dark Templar. My good friend, you complain about the Disruptor and the Dark Templar, but what you're forgetting here is that you already won 2-0 in this single game before a single Disruptor. Maybe half a Disruptor hit the field. Maybe half a... No, DTs didn't end until like 18 minutes. You already lost to the Zealots. DTs, we completely leave the DTs out. The DTs did not matter in this game. The Zealot run-by completely killed you. Zealot run-by and then the micro, whatever you did on the bottom side, that was game over for you. The Disruptors, however, I understand that the Disruptor is a frustrating unit. It's difficult to micro against, but not a single time in this entire game have you used the disadvantage of the Disruptor, which is either splitting up your army. I know you did it once and it went very well, but never again after. You're like, oh, that went way too well. Wouldn't want that to happen again. It might accidentally increase my TVP win rate. Then I can't complain anymore on the Battle.net forums because people will see my profile. Where was I? Right. Not a single time after that one time did you split your army. Not a single time did you use Liberators correctly either to push a base. Every single time you used Liberators, they either were zoning an area without support or there was just no support anyway and they were just chilling there for some reason, often missieged as well. Your Ghosts were very late on top of that as well, which are great against Disruptors because they remove, poof, half of the overall health of the unit. It's... Like, look, I understand complaining about Disruptors and that they're annoying. It's difficult to micro against, but you had so many opportunities here to finish the game before it. You had so many opportunities to actually fight properly against the Disruptor as well, and you never did it. So I can't really say that it's the Disruptor that's imbalanced. No, my friend, you just suck. That's how it is. All right, that's going to be it for today's episode of... Is it Imba or do I suck? And the one thing that I will agree with Mr. Crusher is that, oh my god, I'm so tilted, I'm getting a beer. I'm not tilted, but I'm gonna get a beer. I recommend all of you do the same thing and watch another video. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time. Ciao, ciao.